Welcome to the Blue and Jonquil Mountains. Long since revered by Jamaicans, these steep mountain ridges are home to a rich history of warfare, bloodshed, and triumph. These dense forests hold many secrets and legends, none greater than that of Queen Nanny, the great warrior and liberator of the Windward Maroons, who after epic battles against the British Empire created the first African state in the Western Hemisphere. These majestic mountains existing in the clouds are home to some of the rarest species of plant and animal life on the planet. So extraordinary are the natural and cultural heritage within these mountains that it has joined the rank of internationally acclaimed sites such as the historic sanctuary of Machu Picchu, the pyramids of Egypt, and the Great Wall of China. Being listed as a World Heritage Site is a prestigious honor, as there are only 1,032 sites listed on Earth. The Blue and Jonquil Mountains are one of 32 World Heritage Mixed Sites, meaning that they comprise of both cultural and natural heritage. The Blue and Jonquil Mountains are no longer just Jamaica's hidden gem, they are a world treasure. With great achievement comes even greater responsibility. How is Jamaica going to live up to this prestigious listing? When the world comes to the mountains, can we welcome them?
We have the Blue and Jonquil Mountains. We know for ourselves how very important it is to us as a people, as Jamaicans. But what happened in July is that suddenly this Blue Jonquil Mountain became valuable and important to the world. So now the world is saying that this site belongs to us. And in effect, we as Jamaica and Jamaicans have now taken on the responsibility to maintain and look after this property, not just for us as Jamaicans, but for the world. So we have suddenly become keepers, if you want to use a word, of something that's of international, something that's of universal value, something that the world considers valuable to the world. So if you are looking at a gateway and you're looking at the roots, how do these roots connect back to Hope Estate? So what is nominated at Blue and Jonquil Mountain are the cultural roots. Does that cultural root extend right back to Hope Estate? And how can you begin to develop a visitor tourism trail that takes you from Hope Estate up there? And my recommendation is that's one of the key ways in which to go about it. The enslavement or the resistance against enslavement and the refuge that both the Tainos and the Africans placed in the Blue and Jonquil Mountain. They would be coming from estates which included Hope, Papine, and Mona. So you would have found that this is one of the closest access. So certainly from St. Andrew Estates, Hope, they would have left from here and have gone up into the Blue and Jonquil Mountain as a refuge. So you would find that these estates, right at and it's in particular the Hope Estate, which is closest to the access, would have been gateways into the Blue and Jonquil Mountain. In fact, World Heritage nomination is a whole high level of tourism. And usually the tourists who come to visit World Heritage Site, and they're increasing, are informed and educated. So when they come, they already come with information, and they are coming to get increased knowledge. So I challenge you to come up with something creative. so we don't get into the same situation like everywhere. As I say, we're putting up a museum that shows yet another Taina bowl when we do have real things. It is, Papine is a gateway. What does it mean? And where is the gate? And how do you define that gate, and what does that gate look like?
How long have you been selling your oyster?
30 years.
30 years. So you live in the area, or you from somewhere else?
No, I live in here.
Yeah? Where?
Kentire.
So you farm these things at home, or you buy them to
Buy
sell?
them myself.
So, well, I guess you've been there for 30 years. So how's business been over the time?
Well, it up and down, you know, but we give God thanks because I stay here and build my house. Right here and build 2 houses outside, so.
That's not so bad. Alright, so let me ask you then, since you've been in Papine for all those years, do you think anything could be done to improve the town? You know, the town.
Yeah, the park, they were on Waste Park. Can cut up and make a garage for the people in park them vehicle go do their business. Cause it's the park, you know, Waste Park, that idle park, that you know, it don't make no sense. And then the man and woman go sleep night and that's all. That could be a garage. Yeah, look my bills playing a Papine. And then do have a park, a distant park here. That's a waste time.
Well, to me, still Papine is a good area still. The infrastructure is good because it facilitating the students. It's safe. It's the verses down there the other day, the shooting incident. Up here is more governed to me still. I understand, as in, I don't know if you want to call them Dan, or the elders, them are people who live there. They ensure that the place is on a certain level of order. So to me, still I agree that it's a good place. Papine is a good place.
You feel
It could be better for a mini city that is so close to 2 major universities, so it could be a little bit better, could be cleaner. There could be more things offered over there. Probably even a little park. I don't know, in the middle. They could I don't like how they set up in the middle. So it's too much concrete. So you could fix it up, clean it up, have places for persons to sit down, and if you want to do an assignment, sit down over there, something like that. So.
What's your name?
Margaret.
Margaret?
Yeah.
How long have you been selling in the market?
Years.
Like 10 years? 20 years?
No, my first son at 30, but I'm 20.
Okay. So have you always sold in this spot?
Always so sell at, no, not at this spot regularly, but in the square.
No, since you've been working here so long, how has it been, the working conditions for you?
But some, no, so, because when the rain falls, we have to cover up sometimes. The sun hot, we have to cover, and sometimes we sell it slow. We have to sit down and relax and watch the people in my park.
So what things could be done to improve your working?
Alright, if them could have build up and give one little shade on the sidewalk, make it look more appropriate than sitting under this condition. Would have been much better. I would have get much safer because the people that come into it instead of stay on the roadside to die.
Yeah, my name is Christopher Brooks. Yeah, okay with the taxi business because you can carry 4 now. The police don't allow if you carry 4, but in a Papine we have a parking area. We don't need a proper parking view for park the taxi and load the less harassment with the police.
Right now in the country, them now fight crime like how them fight against you as a driver. If you have a driver's license, he's a licensed gunman. Yeah, if you have a license and a drive. it's like he's a gunman, brother.
Say hard to operate taxi.
The man them not fighting the crime, brother. Then even look, alright, look how you reach by the police station there. And a girl there right there. So if you have a big youth, if you have a much pain close police and you know, so you don't think so.
Yeah.
Them not deal with the thing, you not get no justice, man, them not penetrate the crime level.
Alright, so why do you think they focus so much on the taxi there?
Because quick money, you know much car them take off from August to September. When a man take away your car, you know, brother, you have to have over 60,000. Worse if you don't have a red plate. You know. And them not release your car. Release from NASA until 2 weeks time. Right now, what be the one them for do them now go do? Cause what? You don't want them to organize, like how them have a transport center. Organize have a taxi transport center. We know say the man them one taxi is the one way that have up here, so after all of the man them who are either go Mountain View, town.
Yeah.
You get to me and say, and you have 1.5 or 3. You see in Jamaica, you see foreign, you see if Jamaica did run like how foreign, you know, say if you reach at work 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, because you have to clock in, yeah. If them can get Jamaica to run like how foreign run, this country is a better country. A man has a respect, man, you see me?
The town of Papine, in its current chaotic state, is in no condition to welcome the world to the majestic Blue and Joncro Mountains. The town needs to be reorganized, to be transformed into a suitable gateway, providing efficient circulation, an exciting nightlife, parks for recreation, and comfortable housing and accommodations.
The thing that you're going to have to look at is how best to develop a brief to answer that question. How is Papine now going to become the gateway? And as I said to you earlier, it should not necessarily be driven by whether it's going to cost this or cost that. Serious look should be taken at how best to interpret a solution to the problem you've set for yourself. That might mean abandoning the existing traffic pattern to accomplish a sense of place, of uniqueness, of identity. And we spoke about what makes or what made the Joncro and Blue Mountain a World Heritage Site, what made it so special. And from the pictures I showed you, it is the environment, the landscape, the wow factor that's just being there. There's nothing physical, there's no real buildings, there isn't a waterfall, there isn't something that, what makes it special is the sense of serenity, tranquility, and the scale. That's what you have to capture in this gateway. Now, how do you interpret that? That's your challenge. Certainly, the easiest solution would be, this is the entrance to the Blue Mountain, a big raw sign, it's 50 feet tall.
This town can become a place that entices the scientific community to research and to educate. It can be a thrilling destination to visit before launching off into the mountains, and it can provide a constant hub of activity to engage the thousands of students and residents that call Papine home. Our proposal would make space for a multi-use center outfitted with a public library, lecture halls, and an information center where visitors will learn all about the Blue and Joncro Mountains and what they have to offer. Backpackers can buy or rent equipment. Leisure tourists would be able to book tours leading up to the World Heritage Site. But how will all of this be done?
As I said to you, gotta be very careful about how you interpret things. You and I, we're gonna be gone. But what you leave is going to be there forever. And it does not necessarily have to be, a building. So what I'm saying is you're looking to create an environment, not just for you, not just for today, but you gotta look 20, 30, 40 years down the line. What's gonna happen if this takes off? What's gonna happen with the area around it? Is it gonna be primarily residential in your view? Because you're designing it. You're gonna create the zoning, the densities, the development order as to what? I mean, is it going to be multifamily homes? You mentioned mixed use before. It's not only just housing and commercial, you know. Mixed use activities.
We need to understand what are the resources that are the content of declaring the Blue John Crow Mountain heritage site. If it is heritage ecology, if it is ecology, if it is heritage built environment, if it is heritage culture, heritage, whatever heritage byproduct there are in the area, then we need to bring those products into Papine in terms of how it is designed, the colors used, the words used, the facade of the buildings, the road names, street names, just about every aspect of Papine built environment.
Well, as in the case of any area that you're undergoing a redevelopment, you have to first take into consideration the stakeholders and their existing buildings, the existing people who live there, and their needs. So, and to do that, you have to get buy-in from the state. The state is integral to changing the usage of any existing piece of land, and whether it be change of use or actually changing the physical use of the land. So the first thing that you need to do is that you need to get buy-in from the state as to what it is that you propose. All development hinges on some economic imperative, right? So it's what I see happening a lot of the time is that the designers of any zone or development, a lot of times they don't ask themselves the question, how is money going to be made out of this? Where is the economic basis for what I'm proposing? Where does it originate? Where does it lie? And without that, you're not going to be able to have a development that's viable or that gains acceptance from the authorities or from the stakeholders. So, you know, it's all well and good to say, well, we should build for example, an apartment block here. But who's actually going to pay for that? Who's going to buy it? Who's going to live in it? What are the associated costs with relocating the people that live in that space that you want to put that building in? And so anytime that you're doing a development, you need to carefully understand the underlying economics and plan accordingly.
As with any town, roads are of major importance. If Papine were a body, the roads would be its blood vessels. Any plan for Papine will need to improve the movement and flow of traffic. To relieve the chronic congestion in Papine, traffic will be diverted along Rocky Road, which will be converted into a dual carriageway. The route is perfect for persons who do not wish to stop in Papine, but instead travel directly to Gordontown. Gordontown Road will be widened and a cantilevered boardwalk built to create scenic views over the Hope River Valley. Sir John Golding Road will also be widened to facilitate the movement of traffic. Papine is an essential organ to the city of Kingston. The town is where many commuters begin and end their travel as they journey to and from the capital. In the center of Papine, where Hope Road, Gordontown Road, and Sir John Golding Road intersect, there will be a state-of-the-art transport center built on an expanded roundabout. The frontage of the building will have spaces for shops and an improved farmers market. The fundamental issue that must be addressed in redesigning the streets of the town is the allocation of space. Balancing space is a concept that is used to describe allotting room for appropriate vehicular and pedestrian needs. A fully functioning gateway must meet the needs of drivers. Multi-story parking towers hidden behind shops and residential blocks will increase the parking square footage while creating more space for activities and green areas in Papine.
So the circulation is important, that you would have an easy turnaround point. So I'm thinking that Papine should remain circular like a roundabout, but the existing problems now is that a roundabout is too small and it causes a lot of congestion. So I believe that you would need to increase the size of that roundabout area to improve the circulation.
Mixed-use development, in a broad sense, is any urban development or even a single building that blends a combination of land uses together. Spaces for residential, commercial, cultural, and institutional uses are inseparable from one another, thereby creating a synergy much greater than their separate parts.
Well, Papine is already a mixed-use town. The fact is that it's not formalized. What we call informal settlements is mixed use. It seems that the rest of Jamaica is moving ahead of the formal declaration of what mixed use is. What we call informal activities. Everybody's doing their own thing. When persons buy a house, they start to sell a little phone card, a little garage, shoemaking, hairdressing, until it becomes a commercial district. And all these are signs that the country's economic base is diversifying through mixed use.
People use mixed-use development as a sort of necessary addition to any development that they speak about in the urban setting, right? So this is a sort of almost a hip thing to say. We're going to have some mixed-use development. Again, what it's about is, can you get people to live? If you build a building with offices or shops on the ground floor and apartments above in Papine, will you be able to sell those? Do you think somebody's going to buy them? And if you think somebody's going to buy them, who are they and for how much? Because as it is now, will Papine immediately be a place that I would want to live and come out on the street at 9 o'clock at night? Probably not. So you would, you need to, the process by which these places develop is a very slow and very gradual one.
Along Gordontown Road, there will be mixed-use structures, buildings that will accommodate commercial activities such as shops, cafes, and restaurants on the ground floor, but above will be residences for both the local community and tourists.
We do need to try and create more synergies between the two, between the school, the universities, and the town by having shared facilities between them. Right? So if you had more residential units upstairs of the commercial facilities, that those units could be rented to students or to lecturers as well. And you could also have operations going on within the school that could benefit the community. So you could have programs where the community could attend activities within the university, right? So that will create better synergies between the two.
Rooftops will provide an area for many activities, including football, yoga, and open-air cinemas. This will add to the vibrancy and appeal of the area as a place to live, a place for entertainment, and also a place that is favorable for doing business. The Papine Gateway will have a pulse beating throughout the night, well after the rest of the city has gone to bed. The town will have businesses running 24 hours, providing constant entertainment and services to meet the demands of the growing youthful academic population and the sophisticated traveler. Papine will be a place for pubs, bars, hangouts, nightclubs, parties, live music concerts, cabarets, theaters, cinemas, restaurants, galleries, all places where the World Heritage Site can be celebrated both day and night.
We talk about a cultural facility. I hate to use the word centric because that's thrown around all the time. But that will then answer the issues regarding the universities. Because if you have this hotbed of cultural activity that could spill over into your nightlife. It could also encourage youth tech and the other people to participate in it. Regular shows, not necessarily art shows. I would suspect that we're so glib about nightlife. Again, what is it that you want to offer? Is it simply restaurants and bars, or is it clubs? Is it museums? Is it art? I mean, you say nightlife. What do you want to present to Joe Public as nightlife? I mean, do you want, the thing that comes to mind is Knutsford Boulevard, for example. But that's not truly nightlife if you think about it. Most of the places that you go to in this town, and I should know a little bit about nightlife in this town. If you don't have a car, you're dead. You forget it. Or if you don't have access to a taxi or a bus, nightlife don't exist. Do you know where nightlife exists in this town? It's downtown, like Barry Street, in that some ghetto areas. You go down there, I've been like 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. People are walking up and cutting hairs on the sidewalk, getting a shave, playing dominoes. That's nightlife, huh? No. If that's going to happen in Papine, you've got to ensure that it is structured around pedestrian traffic. In other words, sure you can drive, or sure you can get a bus or a taxi to a place. Then you access these various places of entertainment, i.e. nightlife. Now what I'm thinking is you have to be able to go from one place to the next. That's what nightlife is all about. And Knutsford Boulevard isn't going to work in Papine for what you all want to achieve. Nightlife does not necessarily mean simply going to a bar or a restaurant, It's activities that interest people that can take place at night.
Parks will provide immediate relief from the monotony of a built landscape. Small pockets of greenery in courtyards, along sidewalks and on top of buildings will make the Gateway a livable community with a small carbon footprint. Sky bridges connecting different buildings and multi-storied car parks will be adorned with vegetation to both cool and conceal the hardscape of the built environment. Canal will become a focal point, a main pedestrian pathway connecting the town with the University of Technology, creating tranquility within the urban space. What better transition from the Gateway into the serene Blue and Jonquil Mountains?
Another feature I believe would be important is if you had common area, right, that was not concentrated, rather than what exists now. You have one large park in the middle of a road, right, that having a common area spread along the pedestrian ways, preferably as the suggestion with along the canal, that would create a very interesting pedestrian walkway. If they integrate that with a park-like feature running along the canal.
The central theme of our proposal is to show a more organized and environmentally aware, community-based, mixed-use gateway that acts as a buffer between the dense urban scape of Kingston and the more pristine and rural Blue and Jonquil Mountains World Heritage Site.
C'est vous qui bonne la vie. Nous vîmes L'éternel papa, nous vîmes devant, pour dire merci. C'est où qui va mettre là, c'est où qui